Welcome to the Shift Report, the podcast from MCentric and the MCentric Foundation. MCentric is the go-to information and resources hub designed exclusively for the emergency medicine community. We regularly host key leaders from the field who share their insights and experience. Our goal is to inform our listeners and to encourage you to use what you learn to improve your practice and improve yourself. To learn more, please visit us at mcentric.org. Today's episode is sponsored by Lotus Clinician Wellbeing. Lotus Clinician Wellbeing provides consulting services designed to prioritize clinician wellness in order to provide the best care for their patients. Lotus Clinician Wellbeing supports healthcare professionals with personalized coaching and consulting services for groups and individuals in areas such as career development, leadership, burnout prevention, practice management, and more. For more information, visit lotusclinicianwellbeing.com. Today, we welcome Anthony Guynes. Dr. Guynes lives and works in the Seattle area. Like many of us, he's been wearing scrubs in the emergency department for a long time. And like most of us, he found them uncomfortable and at times poorly designed. Unlike most of us, he did something about it, starting Solea Scrubs, co-founding the company with his wife. Welcome, Anthony.
Hey, Till. Yeah, great to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, this is a great story that I could say it more elegantly. We kind of stumbled across and found, and you certainly have an interesting company and an interesting product and that we all have some use for. So we're looking forward to hearing more about it. You practice clinically in the Seattle area, and tell me a little bit about your early career in medicine and what maybe you learned from some key mentors along the way, and then we'll dive into your business.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I graduated from UW, University of Washington Med School in 2014, and did residency down in Phoenix and Maricopa. And then, as pretty much as soon as I finished residency, we came back up here to Seattle. I've got 4 kids. So I started med school with 2, ended med school with 4. And we just, we loved living in Seattle and my kids were plugged in here. So we came back and I did a couple of years with Team Health doing their special ops program where they kind of drop you into struggling, busy, crazy ERs and you just sort of get things back into shape. And so was in some really, kind of low resource and high volume, high acuity places, kind of in more rural areas, and did that for my first 2 years, and then got in with a private group here in Seattle, and I've been with this group now for about 5 years, and we staff one main emergency department in a Seattle suburb, and then also we have 2 standalone EDs, and so I rotate between those 3.
So you're practicing and doing a version of what many of us do and have done in various places around the country. Fascinating foray into rural medicine, I'm sure, and lots of stories from that. But then you're now starting a business. So some people go into this thinking about businesses start. Some people come up with an idea and it becomes a business. Were you really looking to start a business of some kind, or did Solea just come up as something you wanted to do?
Yeah, no, it really just came up as an opportunity. I myself have zero background in business. Before I was a doctor, I was actually a minister. So I was a minister for about 10 years, had gone to seminary and then kind of made a midlife career change to medicine and emergency medicine. And so never had any ambitions of doing business at all. And so what happened was I just, after practicing for some time and working in the ED, just I think I started to notice that just in general, people weren't super happy with their scrubs. You had the figs controversy, a while back that about the doctoring for dummies kind of controversy that happened. I think I just noticed in the ED everyone has to wear scrubs. Nobody seems to love them, and seems to be something wrong. And then during COVID, sort of one of my COVID rabbit holes was sort of starting to learn about men's fashion and the difference between kind of looking good and what good style looks like and what bad style looks like. And I started to get a different perspective on why do our clothes look so weird that we wear to work, and why do they feel so weird? And so that was just kind of what got the idea going. And then my wife, who's a nurse, she was, she had been at home with the kids through COVID and residency, and so she had taken about 10 years off. And so about a year and a half ago, she was planning to go back to work. She was a public health nurse, but going back to work as a school nurse. And so she was trying to buy scrubs, and she had ordered, I don't know, probably 10 different pair from different companies online, and trying on each one was just getting frustrated with the way they fit or the way they looked. And because she had, I think during COVID, she had gotten used to just being in really comfortable clothes around the house and wearing like Lululemon and Viore and those types of clothes. And so after she was trying on all these clothes and just getting really frustrated, finally she said, like, why, like, how is it possible that scrubs haven't improved at all in the past 10 years? Like, they're no different than they were 10 years ago. She's like, why can't I just wear Viore to work? And so we started thinking about it, like, why can't you wear Viore to work? There's really, like, there's no reason why scrubs have to, feel the way they feel or look the way that they look. And so we essentially had the idea of, why don't we take, sort of what people have embraced about like luxury athleisure with Viore and Lululemon and those types of brands. There's really no category like that in medical apparel, and so why don't we take that and sort of reproduce it in the scrubs niche? And so that was kind of the beginning of the idea. And then as we kind of thought about it and sort of figured out how to do it, we decided to just kind of turn it into a business.
So yeah, so you found a problem of a bad product that we're all exposed to that I think we all just sort of accept it. That's probably true of a lot of products that we use in emergency medicine. But we all sort of accept them, and in any emergency department in the country, many people are probably wearing the things that you and your wife tried, and think there's no real alternative. And you thought, we're going to solve that. Well, we're going to solve that is not as simple as it sounds, I'm sure.
Well, it
So
sounded really simple at the time. I don't
right.
think we knew what we were getting ourselves into.
Yeah. So what did you get yourself into? How did the business start, and what were some early challenges you faced? I imagine funding, manufacturing, quality, marketing, and I'm sure many other things. How did this start, and what'd you learn along the way?
Yeah, so well, stepping back one sec is and something that you said earlier kind of triggered this, as far as like just sort of getting used to what we wear in the department and that type of thing. What we noticed is that when we took a step back, it's so interesting when you look at scrubs, and it's something that we all have to wear. Um, Most hospitals don't provide scrubs. 70% of us, have to buy our own scrubs. So you look at the market size, and I mean, it's huge. We have to buy it. There's new customers coming, graduating from school every year, or every quarter in some schools. And so it's just this huge sort of market that has had, really no innovation. It's been like 12 years since figs came out, so really no innovation in 12 years. There's nothing better than, figs is probably previously, like, maybe considered to be the best on the market, but it's okay, but it's, maybe like Gap level quality. And so it just seemed like there was just this huge opportunity. So yeah, so I mean, at the beginning, it just seemed like a good idea. And, not really having a background in business or entrepreneurship, we thought that that's kind of what it took, right? Is having a good idea. And if you have a good idea, then you can sort of make it happen. And so we didn't realize that there's lots of good ideas out there, but it's really the hard work and the execution that really makes a difference. So yeah, I think we just sort of slowly, like a, like a frog in a kettle. I think we just sort of slowly, as we tried to make it happen, we started to learn, like, first is like, how do you start a brand, and then how do you source fabrics and trims, and how do you come up with designs, and then how do you develop a logo and a website, and then, how do you figure out social media, and then how do you get funding, or how do you pay for all this? And then now now that you have a, a product, how do you market it? How do you help people hear about it? And so it's just been sort of like, picking up in one specialty after another. And I think probably, I mean, looking back, it's probably, as an emergency physician, it's sort of what we do. You kind of get one plate spinning up in the air, and then you keep that going, and then move on to the next thing, and keep that going. And it has made it. I mean, it's made starting a business and kind of entrepreneurship feel pretty. I mean, pretty easy overall. As hard
Easy,
as it is.
easy overall. Maybe I think you're being modest and understating some of the difficulties. But regardless, you have a marketing presence and presumably you have where did you find manufacturing for this? Where did you find the materials? You're not you didn't get trained in how to make clothes.
No, no, they did not teach us how to make clothes in my program. I don't know about yours, but definitely not. It's interesting. So it's kind of a funny story. So what we did, and like I said, the beginning of the idea was my wife Beth saying, "Why can't she wear Viore to work?" And she had found Viore, I think, in REI, several years before they started building out their stores. And are you familiar with Viore at all? Or
Yes, it's a common brand. It's all, and you're right. They've now, rather than being in REI stores, they're now everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they started out of the back of his trunk, about 6 years ago now. So it's an amazing brand, and so we had this idea of taking Viore and sort of turning, bringing that into the scrubs world. And so literally what I did is I found a trade show, like a technical fabric trade show. I took a pair of Viore shorts with me to the trade show. I walked around from booth to booth and asked, where do I get this fabric? And eventually I got pointed to the mill where they get their fabric from, and met them and bought some fabric. so 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 was able to get the fabric that way. And then they connected me with some factories in Los Angeles. Viore is all made overseas now, but there are factories still in Los Angeles that work with that style of fabric and that style of construction. And so was able to find those factories. They also work with like brands like Beyond Yoga and some of the American-made athleisure, and so got connected with those factories. So we currently do all our manufacturing in Los Angeles. So um, and then we do all the packing and shipping ourselves from Seattle.
Do you do it from your garage?
We have a warehouse, so we have a rental home next door that we've converted the rental garage, converted it into our warehouse.
Yeah, there's lots of entrepreneur stories and there are famous pictures online of various companies that have started from one garage or another. And so I'm sure
Yeah.
you've got an element of that. What's the difference between Soleil scrubs and Figs and then other brands you see in various stores? What are the advantages of how do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah, so yeah, I mean that's a great question. We actually wanted to find out ourselves kind of what people would, looking at our scripts and looking at Figs, what people would see as the advantages of ours. So just a few weeks ago, we visited we visited the USC campus. This was before the fires, and we did. You remember the old Pepsi challenge?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so we did a Solea Scrubs challenge, and so we wanted to do this as sort of a pilot project to kind of do it in different places. And so we took a set of our scrubs, we took one of my old pairs of Figs, and then we put them behind like a blind kind of panel, with two question marks on it, and then we had people try ours, and we had them try Figs, and then we just had them decide, which they liked better, and and so what we found is about 85%. We had, I think, about 30 people do the challenge, and 85% of people preferred Solea without knowing which was which. And really the difference comes down to, it's like comparing I mean, scrubs, you're essentially wearing bed sheets to work. So it's
Right.
like comparing a bed sheet to, the absolute softest thing that you've ever felt. I mean, our scrubs are just they are so soft. I mean, they're so soft. When I first started wearing them, I felt guilty wearing them to work. And, like through your shift, have you ever, like, when you're working, have you ever noticed, like, wow, these pants feel really good? Like, they just feel amazing. Like, I mean, I don't know. I've never had that happen before, but when I wear Soleil, it's on, and I'm not just bullshitting you. Yeah. I mean, you notice because it's just so comfortable. So I think, it's probably 10 times more comfortable than anything else that's out there. And it just, I mean, it looks. I mean, look at our website or our, Instagram, and it looks really good.
I'm imagining in my next shift going around and asking the staff how their pants feel. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that,
Well, it's
but
not only that, as during my shift, I probably have 3 or 4 people come up to me and want to feel my shirt, which is also a little weird, but it
yeah.
happens.
All right, I'll figure out how to frame that in discussion
Yeah.
in the emergency department. So, how are you doing with Soleil now? How's the company doing? What's the growth? I don't ask you to give up any proprietary growth information, but how are things going now?
Yeah. No, it's going, I mean, way better than we would have expected. So we only launched 8 months ago, which is hard to imagine, but we launched 8 months ago. We just had our 800th sale, so we're almost to our 1,000th sale. In terms of our social, we're definitely very, like, social media first. So we've got a team of influencers, um, probably 20 influencers who are posting reels every day and kind of helping us get the word out that way. And so we've got over 2,000 Instagram followers already. And just, yeah, I'd say overall it's going really well. We actually just launched a friends and family fundraising round, which um, been able to raise so far about 130,000 within a week. So yeah, I mean, it's going just, it's really, things are really picking up and moving, and we're super excited. So
That's great. For listeners who may recall, one of our shift report episodes was about the whole world of influencers, which I can't profess to be an expert on, but there is an entire industry of influencers to drive marketing, and Adam Goodkoff is well known in this space.
yeah.
And I refer you back if you want to learn about the influencer world. That's a good podcast to listen to for anybody who's listening to think how this works, because it is now a key part of marketing for multiple generations, not just the youngest who are Instagram savvy, but others also.
Yeah, and what Adam's doing is great, and there's a whole community of healthcare influencers and healthcare creators. And one of the nice things is, as an emergency physician, I have a little bit of an inside track there. Well, where I essentially, I just do a search on Instagram to find healthcare creators, and then I'm able to just either direct message them or email them. And I mean, most people still don't get back to me, but 1 out of 20 do. And I can say, hey, I'm an ER doctor. My wife's a nurse. We've started this scrubs brand. It's basically like Viore style scrubs. Can we send you a pair and you can try them out? And we've been able to gradually build up this team of creators who we're like, we're really close to, because we know what they're going through. They kind of know what we're going through. They love what we're making and just can't stop talking about it. And so there's been very few creators that we've actually had to even pay. Most of them just love the scrub so much that they just love posting about them. So
That's a great story, and I think many some other of our innovators in our podcast series um, have tried similar things, and I think we'll learn a lot from hearing this. Just taking, I think your point about um, it's not just enough to have a good idea that suddenly becomes a business. There's something behind it, and there's hard work behind it, basically. But in the current world, the influencer network is very important, and so those are important lessons. What are you looking at for growth other than just selling more scrubs?
yeah,
Um,
so for us, I mean, this next year, so our goal for the next year is to hit 7 figures by the end of this year. And so really, I mean, most of all of our growth is going to come from a combination of, it's social media and then it's paid advertising. So if you are on, Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, you are going to be seeing our ads, I'm sure. And so that drives a lot of our growth. And then the other side is we have a big, a large and growing presence on social media. So Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. And so we just have, we have our team of creators, and we just have, we try to be, there's very little of our stuff that you'll see that is trying to sell you scrubs. It's just much more about bringing value. And so when we think about like our Instagram reels, what our creators are trying to do is they're trying to do something that's either educational, inspirational, or God, I'm blanking on the other thing, but there's yeah, inspirational, educational, and can you think of the other thing I'm trying to think of?
No, I can't,
Yeah,
but
I
but
can't think of it, but very little. We do the Black Friday sale, and we do occasionally, have promotions, but it's much more about bringing value and trying to get content that the healthcare workers are related to and excited about seeing. Oh, entertainment. So yeah,
entertainment.
so we want to either educate, entertain, or inspire. And so the bulk of what we do is that, and people will see our scrubs, as they do that, and when they buy scrubs, they're going to buy ours. And once people try them, it's pretty hard to wear normal scrubs once you've worn ours. So that's definitely works to our advantage.
As we opened this and through the beginning, you were very modest about how hard or easy this was. I think you said it was relatively easy, or some part of it was easy, but no doubt there was hard work involved and occasional trials and tribulations and surprises. For those out in the emergency medicine community who may have something that's a business idea that they want to grow into something or partner with somebody to grow something into a viable business, any particular lessons you would impart when somebody asks you, what do I need to know when I want to turn an idea into a business?
Oh, absolutely. So just a couple days ago, I saw this. So I think we're both in this EM Doc Side Hustle
Yeah.
Facebook group. And so there was this post on there that it really, and I'm not trying to like, I know different people are coming from different places, but I saw this post that it kind of made me sad. It was someone that was posting, I've been an emergency physician for, 10 or 20 years. And I have some ideas that I want to do, but I just don't have any transferable skills. And I read that and I was like, how in the world, how can you be an emergency physician and not have transferable skills? If you think about what we do, we've got decisiveness, which is probably our number one skill. But we've got, we're experts at, communication, at multitasking, at teamwork, leadership, organization, flexibility, just, being able to just get anything done. I mean, there are so many transferable skills when it comes to business and entrepreneurship that I can't think of any profession or any specialty that is better equipped to either start a business or, be an entrepreneur or bring an idea, to reality. And so I think we're the perfect people to do it. And so I would just say, consider those transferable skills that you do have. And then when it comes to the idea and the actual building of something, I would, looking back, I would just say to try to, definitely rely on the friends and contacts that you have. We were fortunate to, when we needed a logo or a website, we just reached out, like to an old college friend who had designed the Universal Studios logo. Or, when we needed our designs, we had a friend who had been a designer at Page Jeans, and so she helped us come up with designs. And so, like, as you go through life, you're able to, build a great network of, friends and contacts. And when you need help, they're going to be there to help you. And so rely on those people, and then just try to, whatever idea that you're doing, try to do it as cheaply and quickly as possible to see if there's interest, and if there's a market. Because there's lots of ideas, but it's pretty easy these days to put up a landing page and kind of test out your ideas, and see if there's a market before you invest, a ton of money into it.
Great lessons. Thank you for that. And for our listeners, we will in the show notes that accompany this podcast, you'll see an offer for discounting on Solea scrubs for M-Centric members. So and we'll work on the details of that. And so you can try them out yourself. As a reminder, Anthony, you have a great social media presence. I've seen it, but if people want to find out more about you, what's your website? Where can they find out more about you and what you do?
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, so for our website, it's soleascrubs.com. And then you can also Google Solea Scrubs and you'll find us. And then I think probably to get the best flavor for our brand and our vibe, check out our Instagram. That's where most of our content is. So it's at Solea Scrubs. And then you can also find me, by my name, Anthony Guynes. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram. But I think, looking at our website and our Instagram, we're going to give you the best flavor of kind of what we're doing.
Great. Thank you for the work you do, and thank you for solving a problem that I think now people will be more aware of when they hear this. They just sort of accept what they have, but hearing this discussion, they get in their old scrubs and probably realize how bad they have it. So thank you for bringing that to everybody's attention, and thank you for joining us today and sharing your perspectives and experience.
Oh, I really appreciate being able to be here, and I love what you're doing, and I love being able to talk with you about it. And I appreciate you having me, and just for your interest, and then just for helping us kind of spread the word about Solea and what we're doing. And we're excited, and we're at this point we're just excited to help people look better and feel more comfortable. And if we can build a business while we're doing it, then all the better. But it's great to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us in this installment of our M-Centric podcast series, The Shift Report. A special thanks to Dr. Anthony Guynes for sharing his important insights. For more content, networking, and innovation in the world of emergency medicine, please visit mcentric.org.